Amana, thank you very much indeed, and very warm welcome to everybody. It's nice to hear people logging in from all different parts, from Mayo to Bray, and I'm sure further afield. So you're very, very welcome. We are in Dublin at Trinity College, and this is online, but there will be, I hope, a face-to-face meeting or a possibility of a face-to-face open evening later this year. But for the moment, we're going to be saying a little bit about what's going on here and hoping that you might be interested enough to come along and join us. I am Michael Kirwan. I'm the director of the Loyola Institute, which is an institute of theology in the broad Catholic tradition. The name Loyola comes from the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola. And we've been going here in Trinity College in the School of Religion here, School of Religion, Theology, Peace Studies. We've been going here for about 12 years, but people have been studying theology or divinity at Trinity College for a lot longer. Since Trinity was founded in the 16th century, theology has been part of the curriculum here. So it goes back a long, long way, and we're the latest people to be studying that and researching and writing and so on. So it's a lively, energizing place to be, and a lot of things going on. In particular, we have study programs, postgraduate study programs, and I'm going to introduce those a little bit and then hand over to people involved with those programs. We'll have a little bit more to say about them. But basically, if you are interested in studying theology at Trinity with the Loyola Institute, you have a choice of 3 postgraduate programs. We have an MPhil program, Master's in Philosophy, and that is a 1-year full-time program, or it can be done 2 years part-time. There is also a diploma in theology, which is a 1-year full-time program, and there is a certificate. So you have MPhil, you have diploma, you have certificate. And those are the same modules taught in each of those programs, but there's less work involved in 2 of them. So the MPhil is 6 modules, 6 courses, plus a dissertation. It's a lot of work. It's a big, very busy program in that sense. The diploma requires you to do 6 modules, but without the dissertation. And the certificate requires you to do 3 modules. And so there are different options there. If you feel you haven't got the time or the commitment or the ability to do the full MPhil, then the certificate is there as an option. And likewise, the diploma is there as an option. And one of the things that we are excited about is the possibility that you could go through those 3 programs on what's called a framework pathway. So you might do the certificate 1 year, you might do a diploma in year 2 if you graduate to that, and then the 3rd year you complete that with the dissertation to obtain an MPhil. So you'd obtain an MPhil after a 3-year program. So what we're talking about here are gateways into theological study. And while all these programs are postgraduate, so you need to have some kind of postgraduate qualification to be accepted on them, they don't require you to have done theology before. So if you've never done theology and you're interested, but you're wondering, well, can I really be starting at this level? The answer is yes. We try and build up a formation in theology for people who've not studied it formally before. And those 3 programs are, as I say, the basic postgraduate offer. It's also possible to do further research here at Trinity College. So if you wanted to do something like a doctorate, then that's something that is available here also. But that's full-time, usually a 3 to 4 year program. One of the things that's happened in recent years is that people have gone on to do doctoral studies by beginning with the MPhil. They've done an MPhil first and then moved into doctoral studies. So that is something that is also possible for people. So What we'll hear later on is a bit more detail about what those programs involve and the practicalities of what's involved in sort of the study and the kind of commitment that's being taken up. So I'm not going to say any more at this point, except to say that that's the broad structure of what we want to talk about this evening. And what I'm going to do now is to hand over to my colleague, Dr. Fáinche Ryan, and she will say a little bit more about those programs and, probably more importantly, introduce some of our current students who will give you a sense or a flavour of what it's like to study these programs. So, Fáinche, over to yourself.
So thank you, Michael. So my name is Fáinche Ryan, and I have been lecturing here at the Loyola Institute since it began. So that's for, I think we're now here 12 years. I lecture in the area of systematic theology. And when we began here, we taught only in the undergrad. Then we've developed postgrad, taught postgrad, as Michael said, the master's program, the diploma and the certificate, and then also the doctoral program. Michael mentioned that the Jesuits are involved in the trust. We have 8 congregations in total who were involved in the trust that set up this wonderful project. They are the Augustinians, the Carmelites, O'Carm, the Columbans, the Loretto Sisters, the Marist, the Oblates, and the Society of African Missions. So the 7 with the Jesuits, the 8 congregations who have set us up. And you'll hear more about them later because they have generously offered various scholarships to us. One way that a lot of students have come to us is either directly to an undergraduate degree, maybe here at Trinity, or by coming to events that we run. So there will be an event that we'll be hosting. The next event will be in April. And we'll send you, if you leave us your email details, which I think Romana has, we'll send you details about that. It will be a poet talking about the Book of Kells. And if you're any bit interested in theology, wondering will you come here or not, it's good to come to a few events beforehand. You get a chance to speak with other students and to hear a little bit of what we do. But I think it's now time for me to move on to the students. We have 3 students with us tonight. They come from very different backgrounds and very different experiences. And we hope that their differences will help you see that we have a variety of students. This year, I think we have 13 or 14 students on our postgraduate courses from various parts of the world, from Africa, from Latin America, from the UK, from Ireland, and a few other places that I've forgotten about. But we have great variety and all ages and all sorts of experiences. So today we have with us Alex Connolly, Colette Farley, and Solange. So I'm just going to ask them various questions and hear what they've got to say and share with you what it's like to study theology here at the Loyola Institute. So Alex, can I ask you in the first instance, why are you studying theology and what was your pathway in? You're a young man, so why are you studying theology? What's your pathway here?
Yeah, thanks, Fáinche. And just off that, I'm probably the least far-flung of the group. I'm here in not so sunny Dublin, pretty close to Trinity. But yeah, I came to the Christian Theology Masters straight from my undergraduate degree, which was in English Literature and Religion. So I was already in the School of Religion in Trinity. So I had kind of the wonderful opportunity to meet with some of the professors, get to know sort of the teaching staff, the academic staff in the building, and kind of have that as a foundation from which to build upon. But yeah, over the course of my undergraduate degree, we covered kind of lots of topics within religion, study of religion, biblical studies, theology, ethics, and theology was my favorite aspect. And so it was a really natural kind of build off of my undergraduate degree. So I was very fortunate to kind of have that lovely foundation coming in and to develop kind of my skills and interests further this year.
Okay, so Alex, basically you did your Leaving Cert, you came to Trinity to do an undergraduate degree, and now you've progressed to do the Masters.
Yeah,
thanks
very
much.
straightforward.
Very straightforward. Okay, and now Colette, what was your pathway to this program? Colette, can you unmute yourself, please? Unmute.
Yeah, that's it. Can you hear me
Perfect.
now? Yeah, now. Can you see me okay as well?
If you could move the camera, we see you sideways.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, just a sec.
Okay, that's fine.
I've had a
Let's
bit.
have to work on our phone due to technical difficulties, the usual
Yeah,
thing.
is that
Perfect.
better? Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay. Apologies for
So,
that.
Colette, you followed a different pathway.
Yeah, so my pathway is a little different to Alex's. My professional background is in modern language teaching and assessment, which I enjoyed immensely over the years. And I developed an interest in theology, but I didn't really have the time to, I suppose, to pursue it formally up until very recently due to work and family commitments. And then I found myself then last year just at a stage where the family were red. So I did a bit of research, and I found that the MPhil course offered at the Loyola Institute in Trinity just really seemed to correspond to what I was looking for. What I found helpful was that I had had the opportunity to attend a few, I suppose, of the public lectures and events prior to actually signing up to do the course. And specifically then last springtime, there was an information evening, an open evening, where we were given an overview, an outline of the course. And I just found that the design and format of the course really appealed. I liked the combination of the taught and research elements. So you have 6 taught modules which introduce you and give you an in-depth, I suppose, understanding and knowledge of core theological issues. And I also found quite appealing the assessment is in the form of essay assignments rather than examinations. And then that's followed by a written dissertation on an agreed topic. So that then allows for more independent, autonomous learning and study and application. So I just found that appealed also. And I was fortunate then to have the opportunity to engage a little with course directors like yourself, and to speak with then current students who did something like we're doing this evening, just talked their own personal experience, you know, of the MPhil. So yeah, so that's how I came to be on the course. And then there was the flexibility, and it has always already been referenced there by Michael, which I found appealing as well. The fact that you could do the MPhil part-time over 2 years if you wished, or full-time over 12 months. So I found that suited me well also.
Thank you, Colette. And I suppose one thing that occurred to me while you were speaking is it's important to say that our teaching takes place in the evenings, Monday evening and Thursday evening. So it's actually possible for someone to be working and come and take an MPhil with us. So
Absolutely.
Solange, thanks, Colette. Solange, Sister Solange, I think you've come the furthest to join us. Sister Solange is from Africa, born in Cameroon, but specifically came to us from Nigeria. So Solange, do you think it's important for African women to study theology, or why do you think it's important for them?
Okay, thank you. Theology is not important only for African women, but for every woman, because God created both male and female, both the whites and the blacks. So I think the idea of knowing God is important to all. Theological study empowers women. It's a part of formation for them. It allows them to understand God. It's all about knowing the God who made and cared for them. It allows them to deepen their understanding of God. And the more they get to know God, the more they will love him and serve him better and be effective in their witnessing. Our world today needs theologically formed women who help to train our children, give them all-round formation. For me, as an African religious woman, the knowledge I will acquire in theology will help me to participate in the economical programs and the interreligious dialogue going on in my country and in Africa as a whole. It will also help me to add my voice confidently to other Catholic Christian voices all over the world to promote Christian unity, which is the major concern of our church today. So it's very important for everyone, especially for African women. Thank you.
Thank you, Solange. Can I ask you, have you found the course challenging?
Writing theological essays, they're engaging and enjoyable, but at once challenging too. But our lecturers are very supportive. They will help you to bring out the best in you, and they're well informed, and they're very passionate about their subjects. So anyone who is coming, you're in a safe hands.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to Alex then. Alex, just to let people know what type of modules we do here. What modules are you doing this term?
Yeah, so this term I was really looking forward to it, and we're 3-4 weeks in now, and it's been fantastic. So we're all taking a class with both Dr. Kirwan and Dr. Ryan. Michael's teaching us political theology, which is on Thursday nights, which is wonderfully engaging. It's been the biggest source of debate and discussion and kind of just detailed arguments on all sides from every member of our class, which has been a real pleasure, because like we said, we have a very diverse group of people from all over the world. So it's really brought that out and brought different dimensions and ideas to the fore, which has been wonderful. So that's one of the modules we're taking. We're also taking a biblical theology class with Professor Neil Morrison, who's not here this evening, but he's a wonderful biblical scholar who's doing some wonderful work with us. I think people are really enjoying it because it's very grounded in scripture. It's in kind of aspects of religion that most people will hopefully be familiar with, and it's really lending kind of different elements, different ideas to the way we read the Bible. So that's been wonderful as well. And finally, Dr. Ryan's module, which is violence and grace in the human narrative. I had some modules with Professor Ryan during my undergrad, so I always mix them up. So you can blame me for that, which has been fantastic. It's been a really great build off of some of the work we did in the first term, and is introducing some really important ideas, some sort of key debates within sort of Christianity as a whole and theology specifically. So this term's been wonderful. It's been fantastic. We're kind of getting to that lovely point of the term where we're not just doing the introductions now. We're really in the guts of the readings and the ideas. So lots of positive things to say about it all the way around.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. And Colette, what module have you found most enjoyable thus far?
Well, it's kind of difficult to select one above the others, but I suppose if I really had to, I'd probably go with the module on the theology of the early Irish Church, Christianity of the Celtic world. We covered a variety of topics, including high crosses, the Book of Kells, early Christian saints such as St. Patrick, St. Bridget, St. Columcille, St. Columbanus, among other topics. And we had a number of guest lecturers who came in to talk to us on their specific area of expertise, which was great, and added great variety as well to the module. I found it was just quite interesting, and there were elements of history, of archaeology, of art, but all viewed through a theological lens. And the module included a field trip to the National Museum of Ireland, where we were given a guided tour around medieval Christian artifacts. And what I think I found of particular interest was Ireland's contribution to the faith and scholarship of early medieval Europe. I found that particularly interesting. But I have to say, I enjoyed also the other modules. I enjoyed learning about the classical theologians, Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine, among others. We did in-depth study of Christology and the doctrine of salvation. And what's been particularly, I suppose, enjoyable and rewarding has been the opportunity for discussion, for questions, for debate during the actual lectures, an opportunity during each lecture for that. And it's led to a lot of vibrant engagement, and there's been, there's a great dynamic, I suppose, because we're such a diverse group. And I suppose what has been a real revelation for me personally has been the importance and relevance of theology in contemporary society.
Okay, thank you. Can I just ask you one question that a lot of students that are thinking of coming would be concerned about? Is there a lot of reading?
Yes, there is, and you have to, I suppose at times you have to choose and try and discern. At the outset, I really was trying to read absolutely everything, and then I just found that I had to just sort of pull back a little bit and just decide, what had to be read, what could be read. There is a lot of reading. I enjoy reading personally, so it hasn't been a huge burden. And I suppose the more you read, the more you want to read, the more you discover. So yes, I think, to be fair, it does involve a good bit of reading.
Thank you very much. So Solange, we'll return to you. And we asked you about why an African woman should study theology, but have you studied any women theologians since you've begun your theological studies at the Loyola Institute?
Yes, I've studied a lot of female theologians, like Julian of Norwich, like Catherine Lucana, and many others.
And would you have a favorite? Would you want to talk about one of them, maybe? Tell us something.
Yes, I love Julian of Norwich.
Okay.
Yes, she's a woman of hope, a woman who believes in the salvation of all. She's a woman whose work has inspired many generations of theologians. She was an English woman and an anchorite who lived in the 14th century. She lived in a time when England they were facing a lot of trials and crises, but God assured her that all shall be well, all manners of things shall be well. That is the most popular phrase. She was a mystic, and she's known for her profound spiritual experiences, which she called the showings or the revelation of divine love, which is the earliest surviving English language work by a woman. She emphasized on God's unconditional love and compassion, the suffering of Christ, and the hope of salvation. Her theology remains remarkable. Her theology is characterized by God's all-encompassing love for humanity. Everything about her work is so inspiring.
Great. Thank you very much. It's very interesting. I just want to mention that Solange is here. She's the recipient of a scholarship. She's a very worthy recipient of a scholarship that the OLA sisters gave us, the Our Ladies of Mission for Africa. So Solange, if someone else, an African woman, was thinking of coming to Ireland next year to study theology, and they're a little bit nervous, what would you say to someone from Africa, a woman thinking of coming to study theology here at Trinity?
So any African woman is wishing to come into Ireland to study theology, I will tell you that Ireland is a good place. The Irish people are wonderful. The weather is not too bad. Back at the college, the time and the environment for learning are conducive. Writing essays are challenging, but they're enjoyable and they're enjoyable too. And I've said before, our lecturers are very supportive. They will bring out the best in you. And as I said, they're very passionate about their subject. I assure you, it will go a long way to deepen your understanding of God. You will not regret it. Come.
Okay, thank you, Solange. Very good. And Colette, what would you say to someone who is thinking of studying theology, but who hasn't been in study mode for many, many years and is a bit nervous about it?
Yeah. Well, I can empathize, and understand that. I just strongly encourage anybody in that position who's thinking about doing the course to just do it. You won't regret it. There's a lot of support, as mentioned by Solange there. There's a lot of support and encouragement throughout. What I found useful also was an orientation week at the outset, where there were any amount of talks on all aspects of college life, and then workshops and sessions on everything from writing skills to research skills to time management. And I think I attended a few of those, and I found them very useful in terms of just sort of familiarizing myself in a way with the college campus, and just, I suppose, slotting into college life a little bit. One thing that has been one of the highlights has been meeting my fellow students in the theology course. It's a very diverse group in terms of age and background and nationality, and it's led to many a vibrant discussion, plenty of engagement. So I would just say, trust yourself. And another thing that I found is that your confidence very much grows as the year progresses. And while the first essay seems rather daunting, but you find you just you write your essay and you can do it, and then you're into your second essay. So certainly your confidence, as your knowledge of theology grows and deepens, you find yourself more confident in terms of contributing to discussions also. So final word, just do it.
Okay, thank you, Colette. Okay, and Alex, what would you say to someone? You've been in Trinity the longest now. What would you say to someone thinking of coming to do a master's in theology here at Trinity College Dublin at the Loyola Institute?
Yeah, I've been in Trinity for quite a while now. I'm shocked they haven't asked me to leave yet, but it's been wonderful. I knew from my experience before that the School of Religion was a wonderful kind of setup with wonderful people all the way through, but especially the people involved in the Loyola Institute are fantastic. There's such a diverse background that it suits everyone. Works to help everyone integrate, to come in, to learn and grow, no matter what stage of life or background or experience they have, which is wonderful. That it doesn't it doesn't gatekeep theology from anyone. And so if you're like me and you're coming from a background having done some theological work, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to hit all the things you want. But also, if you're someone who's interested but maybe hasn't got that experience, there's plenty of time and energy and resources to get to a point where you can kind of confidently work and engage with the texts. So I think if you're interested, if you're here, if you're listening, I think you're in the right place. And I would just encourage you to kind of trust your instincts, and you definitely won't regret it.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. Okay, so now I think I'll pass back to Michael, because we got some questions in, and you might want to begin by addressing some of them, Michael. And thank you to our 3 students very much. I'm not sure, is Michael there?
I am here. I'm going to take a moment to look for the questions.
Okay.
Here we are. Right, there are a few questions about scholarships and about the cost. I don't know how much you want to say about the. That's obviously a big practical issue for people, is the cost of the programs here, and yeah, they are pricey. There's no doubt about that. I think the cost of the 1 year MPhil full time for European students is just under €10,000. So it's a lot of money, and part time is 6,400. So the issues of costing are a kind of big challenge. We do have scholarships available, and I think it'd be true that certainly I'd say probably the majority of our students rely on some kind of assistance with scholarships or grants. And I won't go into details on those here, except to say that those are available. There are details of that on our website. The scholarships are being put up by the religious congregations that were mentioned, and also by the Loyola Trust, and they cover various sections of the fees, and occasionally there are assistance with maintenance as well as fees. So do take a look at the possible funding opportunities there. Those scholarships are generally speaking available to Irish students. So that includes the north of Ireland. So if you're in the north tuning in, then those scholarships will be available for yourself as well. At the moment, with the exception of the scholarship for African students, African women, then they're mainly, as I say, Irish based. We haven't got any.
Michael, just they're for European. I think it's Europe.
European, sorry, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, yeah. And then it's outside of Europe. We don't have.
It's outside of Europe, yeah. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. One of the things you will read about a lot is Dublin as an expensive city to come and study in. So there are issues around accommodation and so on. I think if you have any further questions on that, do get in touch with us, and we will try and advise as best we can. But that's, as I say, several of the questions there around scholarships, fees, and so on. There may be further questions to come in on those themes. Just see if there's anything.
Michael, there's actually a related question that came in the Q&A, and I'm just popping it in the chat now. So it's, do you have any advice on discerning about going back to college and counting the emotional and financial cost of taking a year off work?
That is a fantastic question. It's not just financial cost, it's a big undertaking, and full-time study, taking a year off work and so on. I think, as our students said, we can only encourage you. You'll find this is the right thing to do, and when you've come to that point, you go for it. I think the word discerning is put in there. Come along to the events that happen. So the academic year runs from September onwards, but there are events going on through the year, and see what's going on here, see what's on the website in terms of, a lot of these events are recorded and they're made available, and decide, is this for me? Is this theology something that I want to take up? If you're to take the certificate route, that would, in practice, commit me to 1 term of study. So you could do the 3 modules within 1 term. So you'd have those done by Christmas. And as we've indicated earlier, you can then build that up later through the diploma and through the MPhil. So there are possibilities for jumping into the deep end, or dipping your toe in and moving in gradually. It's, do follow this up with contact with any one of us. We're happy to discuss these issues, because obviously more personal. If you're talking about the kind of emotional costs, each person is different, and that will be a kind of personal conversation. We are more than happy to follow up on that. There's another lovely question come in. Can we share any stories of what some graduates are doing now? And we have some excellent stories to tell. Fáinche, maybe you want to kind of take that question.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. We have a graduate working in prison ministry. We have graduates, we have had a graduate working in the Chester Beatty Library, and she's now working in the Royal Irish Academy. We have graduates, many graduates working in teaching. We have graduates working in not only prison chaplaincy, but also university chaplaincy. We have graduates going on to doctoral work. We have graduates working in some of the dioceses, in sort of diocesan jobs. We have people working in, there's one there now that I'm trying to think of. You're working for some religious congregations. You will see increasingly congregations are looking for people to be maybe their faith development officers or mission workers or things like that. So we have people working in all those type of work. Or we have someone working in hospital chaplaincy. So the chaplaincy, people going into prison chaplaincy, hospital chaplaincy, or college chaplaincy. Just if you're going into hospital chaplaincy, you do have to do another course after that, after this, but you need your theology first. So we have a variety of students going into different types of courses. And then some people will go in, we have people doing, journalism. So people go into things that may or may not be connected to the undergraduate degree. Many of them are, because at master's level, people tend to be clearer as to what they want to do, but people go into all sorts of other jobs. We've got some people working for aid agencies in different countries. So a variety of different positions people go into. There were also a few questions about, is the course online? Can you do distance learning, or what's the course load like? Well, at the moment, the course is not online and you can't do it by distance learning. So the best way would be, as Michael would say, is maybe commit to doing the certificate first, and then the diploma, and then the master's, or commit to 1 year full-time in Dublin. We also have people, I think it's important to say, we've had people commuting from Limerick, from Galway, from Kilkenny, from Wexford. So it's possible to commute. People commute. Sometimes they'll stay overnight. Sometimes they'll go up and down in the one day, because the bus service and train service is so good, given the location of Trinity College right in the heart of Dublin. The modules, as we've said, are taught on Monday and Thursday nights. So yes, to that person who asked, it is possible to work full-time and follow the master's program. We have some, every year we have some students doing that. And normally we had this year we retired students. Normally we have teachers who are teaching during the day and taking this at night. A university lecture this year, teaching during the day, taking the course at night. So we would have people doing all sorts of full-time work. We've had civil servants in the past. So Mondays and Thursdays are the 2 nights that we teach. We teach from 5:45 normally until 9 o'clock. So that gives you an idea of the time commitment. So there's also been a few questions about doing PhD programs. And yes, we have a PhD program. It's not like the American system, so it's not a taught PhD. You do have to do 1 or 2 modules. And then it's either a 3 or 4 year program. And again, we do have some scholarships for that. Very often, if people don't have theological study beforehand, we will advise them to first of all do the master's in theology. Some of them will do the master's in theology and decide, actually, no, they don't want to do a PhD in theology. And then others will do the master's and decide, yes, I want to continue on. And if you're interested in the PhD route and you don't have theology first, we'd say do the master's, do the 6 modules, and then on your dissertation, you can begin probably working on your dissertation or thesis topic for your doctorate. So there is a certain transition. And in that way, you might be able to finish within 3 years rather than going on to 4 years. And as I said, we have some scholarships, again, for the PhD study. And on PhD study, we've got quite a good bunch of students and a nice community atmosphere. They have regular research seminars. We'll be having one tomorrow. So I think that's an added bonus. Something else that I've just thought of, that it's important, I think, as Michael said, the fees it's quite expensive to do postgraduate study. But if you're a student here, you're a student of Trinity College. So you have access to all the sporting facilities, you have access to all the library facilities, you have access to all the societies, you have lots of other things going on if you're able to give of your time to them. So it's a very good investment from that point of view. Are there more questions, Michael? The scholarships, the cost, the class hours, cover that. The academic requirements of the course entry. We normally look for a 2-1 or a first, ideally in theology, but as we know, very few people have the opportunity to study theology at undergraduate level. So therefore, it's possible for people to enter in, we call cognate disciplines. So if you've got an undergraduate degree in anything, just make contact with Michael or myself, and we'll follow up with you.
Yes, another question's come in. Are there any pastoral care modules?
Not pastoral care, but next year we'll have the ministry module.
Yeah, the general focus of what we do is called systematic theology. So it would be Christian doctrine, the kind of central, teachings of Christianity, the doctrines of God, Trinity, human life. How that relates to pastoral is a very, very interesting question, because I think pastoral theology needs to have solid doctrine behind it as well. So as Fáinche mentioned, there are people going into pastoral ministries, chaplaincy and so on, with a confident, robust theological formation behind them. And it won't always be obvious what the connections may be, but it's not a pastoral theology program in that sense, but it is certainly something that gives a foundation for future pastoral commitments and pastoral work. I just like to say thank you to the students for conveying something of enthusiasm. I sometimes use the idea of, it's like going to language classes, you might go to a language class to learn Spanish or French or German, and you might do it for specific reasons because you want to do something with it. But very often it's for the love of the language. People love Spanish and they want to immerse themselves in it. And if you get that sense of theology as something that you fall in love with, then you end up talking like Alex and Solange and Colette were this evening. They become passionate about it and it grips them, and it's a lot of fun. So I hope that you recognize yourself in that kind of presentation that we've had tonight.